Welcome, sports fans, to the latest S&M production of the Sunday Night Sports Nerd Show. It is the most absurd 90 minutes of anything goes, smack talk, and a whole lot more. Every Sunday night, the sports nerd joins forces with three charismatic co-hosts who are a select group of sports nerds with attitude that are known in Nerd Nation as the Rampant. We are four of the most loudmouth, smack-talking nerds around, coming at you with some sick rips and rants, which may be just enough to make you pee your pants. So listen up, Nerd Nation. Let's rise and welcome the legend himself. He is the founder, he is the host, and he is the star of the Sports Nerd Show. Coming to you live, straight out of Lakeland, Florida, Scott, the Sports Nerd Right.
What's going on, sports fans? Welcome back to the Sports Nerds. We are, after a week off, we are back live and in charge. I've got my co-host here, Mr. Big E. Elliott Lamba. John will not be joining us. Hello, Jamal. Good to see you, brother.
What's up, buddy?
And Ken will be here momentarily, as he is, as usual, having technical difficulties. But that's okay. He'll be here shortly.
The usual Texas thing.
Little Texas thing, I guess. Elliott, haven't seen you in 2 weeks, brother. You doing all right? You doing well?
Hanging in, man.
Hanging in? Good.
Trying to stay healthy at this ripe old age of 60, going on 61.
Yeah, I hear you about being old. Yes, I do. Well, we've been gone for 2 weeks, and the NHL hockey playoffs have gotten on fire. So hopefully Ron will be here to talk about that a little later in the show. Let's get into, first of all, you've been watching the NBA playoffs.
Yes.
And
well, sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of peek in and out. You know
what
I mean?
Yeah. I'm not a diehard NBA fan, as you know, but
I really have, like I said, I've been peeking in and out. But the Boston-Miami series is the one that had me the most intrigued.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fantastic.
I wasn't convinced with Dallas against Golden State because I think Dallas got fortunate
against Phoenix.
Against Phoenix, that Phoenix just collapsed in that game 7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They did not show up. Nobody. I mean, the starting lineup had 18 points or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It was just ridiculously bad. And
Jokic actually at some point in time had more points in the entire starting lineup of the Suns
in the first half. He had more points in the first half himself.
Yes.
Than the Suns did. They only had 27 points in the first half.
Yeah.
You know, they wound up losing by 33. They were down by 30 at halftime.
Yep.
And I'm sure they took their foot off the gas, but they still finished 3 points ahead of them in the second half. So
right. Yeah.
It was just a bad performance by Phoenix. And you know who got the most of it was Chris Paul. Chris Paul got dogged by a lot of people.
Because of his age, maybe?
Yeah, probably. And because of the fact that he tends to not have a great track record when it comes to playing in game 7s.
Right.
I know that douchebag Patrick Beverly was on the sports show circuit talking stupid. That dude's a clown, Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking clown. But he was talking. He got a lot of backlash from NBA players present and past for his comments about Chris Paul. But here's the thing: if you continue to go down that negative road, a lot of people are going to criticize you. I just think he deserved what Patrick Beverly put out there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Besides, Devin Booker didn't show up. He's supposed to be like the MVP on the team. There's a lot of rumblings when they didn't play Guyton in the second half. Or DeAndre Ayton, excuse me. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with Phoenix going forward. I just, it's just another team with the best record that just couldn't quite cut it.
Right. Now, were you surprised Boston beat Milwaukee, or is that something that was a
no, I wasn't, for the fact that Milwaukee was missing Chris Middleton, first of all.
Okay. Yeah.
He's their, you know how they say the big three?
Yes.
Well, he's part of that big three for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And they were missing his, not just defense, but his offense, his 3-point shooting, and stuff like that. And, if Boston would have had to contend with him as well as Giannis and Holiday, then it might have been a different story.
Right.
but Boston outlasted them. Milwaukee ran out of gas in Game 7.
Yep.
You know, and it just goes to show you, Giannis is great, but he can't do it all by himself.
Nope, you can't. Nope, you can't.
You know,
No more than LeBron can do it all himself in LA too. So I mean,
no, and you know, I'm not a Boston fan at all unless they're playing Brooklyn. You know,
I know how much you love the Brooklyn Nets. I mean,
oh well, come on, you know, it's like they're trying to be the number one team in New York, and I know the Knicks suck, but you know,
right.
hey,
The Knicks are
we're
always
still the one and only New York basketball
Well, I
team.
was going to say, when it comes to basketball in New York, the Knicks are always going to be king. The Giants are always going to be king in the NFL, and the Yankees are going to be always going to be king in the Major League Baseball. So
Exactly,
and then the
those
Rangers are always king.
Yeah,
And the-
those
and the-
outskirt teams,
Yeah,
except
and
for
the
Islanders,
Rangers,
of course.
the Rangers will always be king in the NHL and in New York too.
Well,
So,
yeah,
you know,
because everything that comes out of Madison Square Garden and Yankee Stadium, which
Yep.
is where the Giants originally played, the New York
Right.
Giants.
Yep.
You know,
Which was the greatest game ever played was in Giants.
those are the two arenas
Yankee Stadium.
that stand out the most. When you think New York, you think sports, you think Yankee Stadium and you think Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which also was the very first venue for WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, and I was there for the closed circuit broadcast.
There you go.
In 1985, I think it
No,
was.
I think it was sooner. I think it was like 83 or 84. I think it was sooner than that.
It could have been.
Yeah,
it could have been.
It was. It was right at the point where Rocky III came out. I remember that specifically because the old Mr. T and Hulk Hogan card. So, but yeah, it was huge. Speaking of the Yankees, best record in baseball.
Yeah, they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde the last week or so, only because they're missing some bats. And,
what about the whole Josh Donaldson controversy thing going on?
You know, I have two views on that.
Okay.
First of all, Josh Donaldson is kind of a douchebag to begin with. Okay.
The bringer of range. One of John's favorite Blue Jays.
Well, he's the one that started the whole scandal with Garrett Cole and
Yeah.
the spider tack shit, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. And I guess they ironed that out. But here's the thing, and I think I put up a meme that laid it out.
I remember that. Yes.
You know, if you're gonna say that you're the Jackie Robinson of this era,
Don't be offended if someone called you Jackie.
exactly.
Whether
So
it be,
the white guy
whether
gets
it be honest or whether
suspended.
it be sarcastic. I mean, come on.
The white guy gets suspended because the black guy got offended that somebody called him out on his ego.
Right.
You don't call yourself the Jackie Robinson of this era. First of all, you're not the first black player in the league.
Right.
Okay. You didn't set any precedent for being that player.
Nope.
All right.
And you're not as great as Jackie Robinson was in the second at all. So come on.
And you're nowhere near what Jackie Robinson was.
Right.
So, you know, don't put yourself out there and then turn around and saying, oh, well, I'm offended that he called me Jackie.
Well, you should have put it out there, dude.
And then baseball totally, you know, look, Manfred needs to be executed. He needs to be.
How about just removed from office? Let's go with that. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Executed out of office.
Yeah, resign or get the hell out of there or whatever. Yeah.
He needs to be excommunicated.
There you go. That was another word I was going to go with. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. In this social media era, I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression. I'm
yeah,
not saying that somebody should off the guy, but he has no business running a professional organization, especially not Major League Baseball. We've had a couple of, Bud Selig wasn't the greatest freaking commissioner either. I think one of the best commissioners ever was Bart Giamatti, but he died of a freaking heart attack.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
The man that killed Pete Rose.
Yeah, basically. But, you know, he had a job to do. And I'm sorry, but, you know, the Black Sox scandal from 1918, it's no different.
Yeah, it set a precedent.
That team got basically shut down.
And to this day, Shoeless Joe Jackson is still not in the Hall of Fame. So
no. And so the bottom line is that there's certain rules you can't break And I understand people keep saying, "Oh, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. His stats should speak
Well,
for
his stats
themselves."
should put him in the Hall of Fame, but because of what he did as a manager as far as gambling on games, especially when he's gambling on the Reds,
He
whether
shamed the game. He made
did.
himself bigger than the game.
Correct. And
you just
and
can't do
Giamatti was a purist. He believed in the integrity of the game. And he did what he had to do because of that, of the way he was. And I tend to agree with it that Bart Giamatti was one of the better commissioners.
Yeah.
And we haven't really had a great commissioner since.
Bowie Kuhn was a great commissioner.
Yes, he was. He's before Giamatti, but yes, he was. Yes.
I just think baseball's been suffering without a great commissioner for a while.
I believe so too. I mean,
Selig and then Manfred.
Selig was the first commissioner that I remember that caved to whatever the owners wanted, because he was an owner at one point in time. He owned the Milwaukee Brewers at one point in time. So basically, he's the Goodell of baseball. Yes, correct. Yes. So,
by the way, WrestleMania premiered in 1985.
Okay,
as I said,
I stand corrected then. Okay.
Well, there's 37. This was 37. This last one, or was it 38? I don't know, but I remember 1985 because I moved to Arizona.
That's the year I graduated high school, so I remember 85 as well. That's the year I graduated high school. And
37 editions have followed since the 1985 premiere.
Yeah. And I remember was a good year for me. I liked it.
Well, the thing is that was called the rock and wrestling era, because they had Cyndi Lauper up in there with all the MTV stuff and Captain Lou, and it was just it was an amazing time, and I think it was a turning point for the WWE that put them on the map forever.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania was the one that did it. Was what did it. WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
But the 80s were great. The 85 was great for music as well. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Here's the thing though, with the Yankees, it only stands to reason that I haven't been following them.
Because you said you weren't going to this year.
I told you I wasn't.
No. And
they got the best record in baseball.
Go figure.
So I'm not going to watch them no more. But anyway, they just been struggling. If it wasn't for their pitching, because their pitching has been phenomenal.
Yep.
They wouldn't have the best record in baseball, because there's been a lot of games where they score 1, 0, 2. Like this past weekend, they scored 12 runs in 4 games, but 7 of them were in the first game on Friday night.
Yeah.
Or the second on Thursday night, excuse me.
Okay.
And then Friday night they won 2-0. And then they lost 3-1 and 4-2. Uh-huh. So it's not like they're knocking this cover off the baseball. Let's put it that way. You got Stanton. Stanton's on the DL or IL, excuse me.
Yes, it's IL now. Yes.
Politically correct. IL.
Injured list, not disabled list.
Not that list.
Yeah.
Honestly, Aaron Hicks, they should send him to some. They should probably just ship him off to Japan or something, because that guy sucks. And honestly, I'm also volleying for the fact that Aroldis Chapman should be retired from closing games for the Yankees anymore.
He should have been done after the year.
Well, I mean, he's a great pitcher and all that, but eventually shit catches up with you. He's getting old.
He wasn't great. He hasn't been great since 2016 with the Cubs.
Well, that's because he gave the Cubs a World Series. You know
Correct.
What I mean? And people are always going to remember him for that. Okay.
Trust me, I remember.
I'm sure. Your hat says it all.
Yes, I remember. Trust me. I remember.
This is when they were the Engines, not the Guardians, okay?
Yes. And they had a 3-1 series lead, and they blew it, just like the Warriors did against the Cavaliers that same year.
Look, I look at it this way. Anytime the Yankees are in first and Boston is lingering around the basement, I'm good with baseball. I'm waiting for. You don't hear Bill Clark talking about parade. Making prepared for
reserving your seat on the parade route. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't really cricket's coming out of Boston, you know? And I love that.
Well,
when you get
trust me.
crickets coming out of the
Trust me,
Boston
I
fan
get
base.
enough of it on my Twitter feed from Katie and Ken. Trust me about it. Okay, I get enough.
Oh, I'm
of
sure.
it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Just like who is it? Bill stuck his foot in his mouth about the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And he said something about to all you Heat fans out there or something to that nature.
Yeah.
And yeah, he had to eat his words after Miami put them down. Now tonight is Game 7.
Game 7's tonight in Miami. Now Boston's won twice in Miami this series, so let's see what
I get it.
Yeah,
I get that they've won twice in Miami, and there's no reason they can't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But
they've lost. They lost the last time they faced Miami in Game 7 was against LeBron, and they lost that game. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but that was LeBron.
That was LeBron. You were correct.
But you know what, Jimmy Butler.
I tell you what, Butler in Game 6 was just off the freaking chain. He took that team on his shoulders, and he carried him, and he won that game for them.
I mean, the Butler did it.
The Butler did it, yes, and he was phenomenal. I mean, I like Jimmy Butler. He's actually popular on a lot of people I follow from Cleveland that like Jimmy Butler a lot too.
Well, you know who's eating crow right now and looking pretty stupid is the Philadelphia 76ers, because they decided to keep Tobias Harris and ship Jimmy Butler off to Miami.
Yep.
And we saw what happened to Philly with Tobias Harris. There was one where he was walking back to the locker room and he's like, "Tobias Harris, really?"
I remember hearing that. Yes. Yes.
And well, that's just the way it works out. Right now, I think Golden State is looking pretty tough.
I think so too.
And they got Gary Payton II coming back too, from what I understand.
Correct.
For the final.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that with Thompson and
Trey was off the chain in Game 6 on that Game 5. Excuse me.
Klay Thompson
got his 3 game on it last game.
And Steph, I mean, those two are just shooting the lights out.
Yes.
Jordan Peele on and off, but he does enough. The guy that's playing out of his mind is that Looney kid. And then of course the only real reason I don't care for Golden State, honestly,
Draymond Green.
Exactly.
Draymond Green.
I do not care for that guy at all.
Mr. Mouth. Mr. Motor Mouth.
If he got run over by a bus, I wouldn't fucking shed a tear. Okay.
Do you think he's a dirty player?
I wouldn't say he's a dirty player because I don't think he tries to injure anybody.
Right.
But I think his mouth is a little too much.
To quote Top Gun, he writes checks his mouth can't cash, is what you're saying.
A lot of times. Yeah.
Yes.
And let your playing do your talking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the fact that he gets so many technical fouls is because he's got a mouth.
Yeah.
And sometimes he gets these calls, like the flagrant 2 he got called against Memphis, I think it was in Game 1, where he got bounced for a flagrant foul 2.
Mm.
And a lot of people were saying, well, it shouldn't have been a flagrant 2 and so on and so. But his reputation precedes him.
Yes.
And when referees have to make a borderline call, they're usually going to side on the fact that Draymond Green is an idiot. And he's alienated refs to the point where they're going to lean towards punishing him a little bit more than they would the average person.
Yep.
So I here's the thing. If Golden State and Boston go to the finals, I'm going to be pressed. I'm going to be hard pressed to even care. You know what I'm saying? But I will root for Golden State because I just hate Boston.
Because it's much. Boston, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Just because
But
they're
if Miami goes, even though I don't really believe Miami can beat Golden State, I'll go for Miami. And I don't really, you know what? I go for Miami only because they don't have LeBron, because I hated them when LeBron was on there.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, any team LeBron goes to, I can't stand, except for when he played with Cleveland. Why? Because that was his hometown team.
Yeah.
I know he's born in Akron
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff,
Yep.
but he's still an Ohio boy.
Yes, he is.
And he went back and did what he was supposed to do, and that's helped them win a championship. But they also lost 3. Actually 4.
Yep. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on 1 second. We got a Facebook user. Who's
this?
It's Carlos. It's your cousin.
Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos.
Give him the link. Give him the link.
I'm going to give him the link. Hang on, Carlos. Give you the link. Carlos, you need to reconnect your account to Restream.
Hey, Carlos, you need to tell your son not to be dissing his family here in Florida. He could have let somebody know he was coming to town.
Carlos, click on that link and get yourself reconnected via Facebook to Restream. Anyway, yeah. I'm not a big Heat fan because I don't know, because LeBron was a traitor.
I can't stand the Heat because they have a long sordid history with the Knicks.
Well, not only that, but also isn't Pat Riley part of the Heat organization too?
Well, yeah, he's the guy. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that brought.
I'm not a big Pat Riley guy. I'm not a big Pat Riley guy. So
I was okay with Pat Riley when he was in New York. I didn't really care for him in L.A., but again, I used to root for L.A. whenever they played Boston.
Oh, I was a big fan of the L.A. back when they had Magic and all those guys.
Showtime, yeah. Riley was the coach for that.
Yeah, Riley was the coach for that, and I also was a big Phil Jackson fan because I was actually a huge Bulls fan during the Jordan era when I was watching at that point. And that's in my opinion, that was when the NBA was great. The last time the NBA was great was during the Jordan era. The late 80s, early 90s.
That was why that actually coincided with the Attitude Era in the WWE.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And it was WWF at that time.
Yes, it was.
And I mean, it was great basketball. I hated it because every time the Knicks played the Bulls, they got bounced.
Poor Patrick Ewing, man. Come on.
It is what it is, man. I mean, he was with the Knicks his entire career, except for when he went to play with Seattle at the end. And he's one of the greatest centers of all time not to win a championship.
He's not doing so great as the head coach of Georgetown right now, though, let me tell you.
Well, I mean, when was the last time Georgetown had a good coach? John Thompson, right?
John Thompson. Yep.
Okay, so, I mean.
When Patrick Ewing was on the team.
Yeah, and look, just because you're a player doesn't necessarily translate into coaching. Nope. You can see that a lot in a lot of scenarios. Yep. That's usually the case.
Look at Isaiah Thomas. He's one. Come on.
Oh, Isaiah Thomas was awful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I only know because he made the Knicks organization worse than what it already was. Not to mention Phil Jackson coming along and being the general manager and president or whatever the freak he was.
Right. Well, Phil Jackson was a micromanager, which is why it didn't work out. He was too much. He had his, he had dipped his fingers into the gameplay and the coaching of the team too much when he was in.
Well, again, it's the coaching. It's the difference between being a coach and a GM.
Yep.
Well, some people can do it, some people can't.
Right.
And as an executive, he never lived up to anything close to the expectations that he created as a coach.
Right.
Okay. On the other hand, Pat Riley made the transition, and he's a great GM and president or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not, how should I say, I don't have anywhere near a horse in what's left of the race in the NBA. I would root for Miami the rest of the way. But again, I got 3 favorite teams in the NBA.
Knicks.
The Knicks and anybody that beats the Celtics or the Brooklyn Nets. Those are my Otherwise, I mean, I can even stomach Golden State over those guys.
Wow, that's pretty harsh, man. That's pretty
Well,
harsh.
like I said, if Golden State goes with Boston, I'm gonna go with Golden State.
Yep.
You know, let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Mm.
Anything in the football arena?
Well, there's a couple things that I posted earlier this week on my blog. The first of which is that the Raiders hosted Colin Kaepernick this week.
Yeah.
We gave him a tryout. There hasn't been any signings or any results of it, but they did bring him in for a tryout.
From what I understand, they were pretty impressed.
Yeah. So that's I mean that's Derek Carr's team, so it's not like he's
it is Derek Carr's team. Yeah.
So it's not like he's trying out for a starting position. He'd be a backup.
It never hurt. And he even said it. I play as a backup. I'll take whatever money, you know what I'm saying? I just want to play.
Yeah.
And you could do a lot of teams are doing a lot worse at the backup position and even the starting position at quarterback than Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, even though he's been out of the league for what, 5 years now, has it been?
Yeah, but he stayed in shape the whole time. And he's still – there's certain things that you don't lose no matter how much time you don't play. Like Michael Jordan, he was out of basketball for a couple of years or whatever.
2 years, yeah.
You know what I mean? He came back and it was like he never left.
Right.
You know, and if he hadn't –
Good, Carlos. You're back.
Yeah, Carlos, right on, man. If he hadn't left, those Bulls would have won 8 straight championships.
I think they would have too. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
You know, and at the expense of my Knicks and other, teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I mean, arguably, again, the debate will go on forever. LeBron, and Michael Jordan, but I don't even see it as a debate, dude.
Different eras, different types of games.
The bottom line is that nowadays people are more concerned about stats than they are winning.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just bullshit because winning is what it should always be about. And Michael Jordan was the ultimate winner, no matter how you look at it.
Yep.
And he didn't start out that way.
And the thing that makes it great is that he did it with the same team. He didn't jump from team.
He didn't go on it. Yeah.
He didn't check. He did it. Well, he went to the Wizards at the end of his career, but that was because they were, the last dance happened, so to speak. If you've seen that documentary.
Well, it's like Reggie Miller said. He says, you know what? If Michael Jordan called me to go join the Bulls, I would have punched him in the face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We didn't do that back in the day.
No, he did it with one team, and I mean, the cast of characters underneath him changed from, over the years, but the key factor.
And he was durable too.
Correct. The key ingredient to that was him and Scotty. Those were the two guys that drove that team, and that's again, like I said, he did it on one team. He didn't bounce from team to team chasing rings like Westbrook was doing and stuff like that. So. It is what it is, and that's why Jordan's great because he did it with
Westbrook
one team.
doesn't even have a ring, so
I know exactly.
No matter where he go, he ain't got a ring.
Yeah. But
even LeBron, LeBron, he took the Heat 4 times to the championship, but lost 2 of them. Should have lost 3 of them.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Ray Allen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you play for 7 like our boys will show. Okay.
Okay, Carl.
Well, it could be worse. He has his son is a Lakers fan. So.
Oh God.
Yeah. Andrew is a Lakers fan. He's a confused child for sure.
I'm sure.
I don't know how many times Carlos might have dropped him on his head.
That's called questionable upbringing. Questionable parenting, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think he beat him enough, but hey.
Oh, that's too funny. So Colin, you got to work out from the Raiders. Again, I don't know that anything's going to come of it, but It's
Look,
good
like
at
I
least to
said,
see.
they could do worse in the backup position.
Yep.
You know, you got somebody that if something were to happen to Derek Carr, Kaepernick could probably step in there and
Yep.
do
Yeah.
a decent job,
I mean,
especially with the weapons they have now.
Yeah, recent occurrences notwithstanding with the Raiders have a history of, you know, bringing in people.
Controversial figures.
Well, not just controversial. I mean, you look at it. I mean, they're the first team to hire a black coach. They're the first team to hire a Hispanic coach. And they had Amy. What is her name? God, Amy. Anyway, a female CEO.
Yeah.
When Al was still alive. I mean, during this time. Now his son has not lived up to that legacy with the recent happenings and accusations from the former.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens when you have a Dumb and Dumber haircut.
Yeah, that's true too. But for them to bring in Colin, that was pretty good. I don't know that anything's gonna come of it. A federal judge has denied NFL's motion to dismiss John Gruden's lawsuit against the NFL.
Well, if they colluded and they, from what I understand, it's not just Gruden that they have stuff on.
It's Dan Snyder and it's Dan Snyder and the Washington football team too.
Well, yeah. How is it that Dan Snyder is surviving right now with all the scandal?
Well, especially with it appears like he's withheld money from the NFL.
The owners, not
the
just
owners.
the owners.
The owners. The controversy surrounding the treatment of female employees, specifically the cheerleaders. The wretched condition of his freaking stadium. So if he's stealing all this money, why ain't the stadium up to snuff? And the Commanders have the lowest merchandise sales in the NFL.
Well, they probably have the lowest ticket sales too.
Yeah, so
one of the lowest.
They did purchase land in Virginia this past week or two for a potential new stadium.
Did you see the mock-up?
Right off of I-95. What the hell you thinking?
Did you see the mock-up of the stadium?
No.
There's a meme out there that says it looks like a Pringles chip.
But they put it on one of the busiest highways. It leads right into DC. It's going to be hard to access. Worse than trying to access Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg.
Well, the parking ought to be a nightmare too.
Exactly. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yes, and you know what? Tropicana Field is a fucking dump. Okay, it's got to be the worst stadium in baseball, by far.
Yep.
And I won't even. Not that I want to go see the Yankees because they're doing so well without me following them.
Right.
But I think of it, and their stadium is just awful. And when I walk through the breezeways and all that, it reminds me of the New York subway system. It'd be fucking nasty if you ask me.
Ron just asked if we need him, and I'm going to say yes, of course, if you have time. So we'll see.
Well, we need to talk some hockey. So
yes, absolutely, yes, we do.
We need to get that thing out of the way. So it might not be long, but we need Ron.
Steelers promote Omar Khan to GM. It was an internal hire, so he takes over for the Steelers.
Who was it?
Omar Khan.
And he got promoted by the Steelers?
Yeah, to GM.
So no relation to Shad Khan and Tony
no relation to Khan Noonien Sung either, so we're good there.
The AEW Khan or anything like that?
Let's see.
How about the news about Dwayne Haskins and his condition when he?
Yeah, there was. I mean, and the family's pushing back hard on that too.
With the ketamine and how drunk he was, and I understand they want to push back, and it's a reputation thing, and so on and so forth. But if he was in that much of an altered state, I mean, who's to say he didn't walk out in front of that damn truck?
Yeah, he didn't know where he didn't have a good sense of his surroundings when he was on the highway.
Yeah, it's hard to walk the highways in fucking Florida to begin with.
Even when you're sober.
Yeah. You're taking your chances.
I mean, you interstate highways ban pedestrians for a reason. Just cars are going by at 65, 75 miles an hour. You don't
He
want
might as well been walking through Alligator Alley while he was at it. You know what I mean? It's like just look. There's a reason people don't really walk too much in Florida. Okay, and that's because first of all, people don't know how to drive in Florida. Okay, they're a danger to pedestrians.
Correct.
In Florida, and their highways are not very well, how should I say, represented.
Nope.
And they're not safe. It's a shame, but you know what? An autopsy is an autopsy, and if he was in the condition that they say he was in, his alcohol level was high, and he was on ketamine.
Yep.
I'd have to say, you know, and there hasn't really been a lot of push towards going after whoever it was that ran him over. I haven't heard anything.
I haven't either. No, I haven't seen any charges against the truck driver or anything like that going on. So
it might have been a non-fault, you know. Yeah. And it's a shame. I mean, it's tough to lose a guy that young, and I mean, it's just
he was gonna compete for the starting job in Pittsburgh this season.
He was. I don't know if he would have got it or not, but it's just the loss of a human being like that. It doesn't matter what, you know what I'm saying? It could be any Joe Blow walking down the street. If they get run over, you know, again, it all depends on the circumstance, and God bless him and his family for what they had to go through and so on. But, you know, as the truth and facts come out, you have to wonder, did he put himself in that position by not being responsible, you know, as far as, first of all, he ran out of gas. Was that what happened too?
Yeah, he ran out of gas. Yeah.
So basically
he was driving under the influence to begin with.
He was impaired, which means he wasn't paying attention to his gas levels and, you know, things like, so he ran out of gas and then he tried to hoof it.
Yep.
When he wasn't even doing, you know what? The fact that he ran out of gas probably saved other people's lives, because who knows what would have happened if he would have kept driving.
And the smart thing to do, if he had his phone with him, he should have just called for assistance, and someone would have come and helped.
Dude, he should have just got himself an Uber or a Lyft or something.
That too.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's plenty of ways if you're a responsible person, and I'm not saying that he was irresponsible, but in that moment he was. And it's just a shame that, you know, it cost him his life. That's too bad.
All right.
You know, I watched them. Have you seen American Underdog?
No, I have not.
It's on Hulu.
I dropped my Hulu subscription. I'm trying to save some money.
So. Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I dropped Hulu and Netflix.
I think it might be in a couple of other ones too. But if you get a chance to watch it, really good.
All right. Ron's in the green room.
Ron's in the green room.
Yep. And he's now on the show. There we go. I'm going to change the there we go.
There he is.
Ron Gallo in the house. What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Doing all right.
Raise the roof.
I'm the Canadian underdog.
Yes, John's not here tonight, so you're the only Canadian on the panel tonight. So,
excellent.
How you doing, Ron? Yeah, sorry we weren't on last week. We had some issues that we couldn't foresee, but
they had issues. I was good.
Yeah, whatever, Elliot. Anyway,
I wrote it off to being the Canadian long weekend. We do our long weekends always before you guys. Like
ours is this weekend. I'm off tomorrow, so I got a 3-day weekend this week. So
there you go. I remember Trump.
I'm off every day.
Trump once said, why are the Canadians trying to take our holiday and put it a day ahead? And it's just like, hello, July 1st. That's the Canada Day.
So Ron, let's dive into it. Right, get going here. How about them Tampa Bay Lightning sweeping the Florida Panthers?
Why do we always got to start with the Tampa Bay Lightning?
It's my show. That's why. Come on.
Can I just intercede for a second? Okay.
100%.
If you were a brainless idiot, okay, you would even know that after Tampa won game 2 with 0.9 seconds left on the clock, that series was over.
Yes.
Okay. There was no way that mentally Florida was going to recover from that particular. They had overtime ticketed. They were ready to go for an overtime. And who knows what would have happened in that overtime had it gone to overtime. But once they gave up that goal with 0.9 seconds, which I thought was ridiculous, you don't leave a guy that wide open. Okay. With 9/10 of a freaking second. Not to mention the elephant in the room. Okay. Who the hell thought Florida was going to go anywhere with the President's Cup? And please understand that the Tampa Bay Lightning 3 years ago won the President's Cup and got swept by Columbus.
In the first round.
In the first round. Here's the thing. There's been 35 President's Cups issued since it started back in 85, 86. 11 teams have made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's less than 33%. 8 teams have won the cup. That's less than 25%. So the odds were not in favor of Florida, okay, going past, not to mention the fact that they just don't have the experience that Tampa Bay does in these particular situations, okay? And bottom line is that I see the President's Cup as something where you beat up on everybody in the regular season and you go in overhyped into the playoffs.
The playoffs are a completely different season. I know it's cliche, but the playoffs are a completely different season. Every team starts at 0. One of the things I'm going to say, and I can't believe just adding a 32nd team does this, but when you go back over the years and you had fewer and fewer teams, and you always had 16 teams going through, what did you have? You had the elite, but you also had the mediocre
and the
going
also
through to the playoffs. Now, with it being 16 teams going through and 16 teams not going through, you now truly have a lot more tougher teams that are going through. But like Elliot said, to Elliot's point, the President's Cup trophy is a curse. It's no different than the Jack Adams trophy for a coach of the year. It seems that the coach of the year gets fired within 2 seasons after winning that trophy.
Right.
The President's Cup, the Chicago Blackhawks were the last team to win
9 years ago. 9 years ago.
And then go through and actually win the Stanley Cup. But since then, you've seen President Cup trophy winners ousted in the first round, sometimes swept in the first round.
Oh, and let's just be clear that Tampa, when they lost, they had the second most points ever of a President's Trophy winner. Yes. President's Cup winner. Okay, to be eliminated. Not just that, but they were the only ones eliminated in the first round in the last 9 years.
That's okay. The two Stanley Cup
they swept. Right.
They've won 2 cups since then, so I'm not.
I understand. I understand. You know what? A clock is right twice. A broken clock is right twice. Right?
Okay,
so
but
fall into luck.
Go ahead, Ron.
Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning really quickly, because here is a team that the best analogy comes out of the very first round series. The Toronto Maple Leafs were arguably the better team. Yes, the Tampa Bay Lightning won in 7 games. Yes, the Tampa Bay Lightning got it done. The first round matchups are always the toughest because you just never know how anything's going to play out. Tampa Bay needed that short series with the Florida Panthers because of the injuries that they've got.
Yeah,
and those injuries came from playing against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, now, but I also want to add real quick, Ron.
Also, not a surprise, the Maple Leafs losing in a
it's not. But
that's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to talk about. It's not that the Toronto Maple Leafs deserve to lose or anything else. It's just that there is no win in their culture when it comes to the postseason. They have been out and eliminated too many times in the first round, and so many times it has felt like that was at least they made the playoffs. At least they made the playoffs. But the last couple of years, they were supposed to get through the first round. Last year, they lost to the Montreal Canadiens in an all-Canadian matchup for the first round. This year, they got the defending Stanley Cup champions, the defending 2-time Stanley Cup champions. When you've got that mindset, you have definitely got something on your side that's intangible. There's an old cliche that hard work how does that go again? What it means is that people that are elite and can get the job done, if they don't work hard, the lunch bucket pail, the lunch bucket group is going to get it done. The problem is the Tampa Bay Lightning are not the same team that they were last year on the ice. They don't have that ability to get the job done. What they have is they have a belief that they can get the job done. And that is huge, because even when you lose a game, you're like, yeah, you know what? We lost the game. We can win the next one. Let's just go get it done. And how many games in a row back to, like, how many consecutive times has Tampa Bay Lightning lost a postseason game only to come around and win it again? On the flip side? They haven't lost 2 in a row is what I'm trying to say.
Correct.
Well, and it was a given that, again, I mean, nobody can say anything is a given, but historically speaking, they've been given 2 gifts. 1, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and 2, the President's Cup winner.
Now and that really sets up something here for the Eastern Finals, because of course what we're going to see is we're going to either see the New York Rangers or we're going to see the Carolina Hurricanes, and there's an elephant in the room again. There's a cliche in hockey that says that you don't lose a series until you lose on home ice. Neither one of these teams have lost on home ice.
Right.
So now the advantage is in Carolina's court because they're going back to Raleigh, North.
Oh, no, Ron, don't go away. No. Oh, we lost him.
Now, before he comes back on, I would have to argue a little bit against, or push back just a little bit against that Carolina is going to be having a major advantage, okay, over the Rangers, because I still think the better goalie in that series belongs to the New York Rangers.
Right.
And I always forget how to pronounce his name. Igor.
I'm not going to try.
Shesterkin, or whatever his name is. Okay. He's amazing. That guy's freaking amazing. What, he had 2 assists last night?
Yeah.
Only the 5th player to ever do that?
Yeah.
Or the 5th goalie to ever get that done?
Yeah. We got you back.
Oh,
Ron.
we got Ron's background.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you. I can see
You
your
look like a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I can see your background.
Let me take off the virtual background for a second. Oh my God, this is just terrible. Okay, at least you can see me. That's too funny.
Nope. I got nothing. I got no video.
Oh, that's okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to put the background back there, we can, but we can't see your videos out.
Yeah, I could leave and come back in or whatever. But anyways, let's pick up where I left off, and that's tomorrow night's game number 7 of the only series that's still in progress, and that of course is the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Rod Brind'Amour has his team firing on all cylinders. The New York Rangers are struggling to find some of the pieces, but they get the job done. And they get the job done from, and I picked up the last little bit of your guys' conversation. You guys were talking about Shesterkin, and that's where it comes from. It's from the goaltender. Did you guys watch last night's game?
Yep.
The Carolina Hurricanes had possession inside the New York Rangers zone for over 2 minutes. Over 2 minutes, the defenders of the New York Rangers could not get control of the puck, could not get it out of their own zone. It took the goaltender to step in front of another player and take an interference penalty call in order to get a stoppage in place so that they could actually change up some player personnel.
Well,
that's how much
he had 2 glove saves and at one point in that
one pad save, and then the pad save, the glove save right after.
Yeah, and the glove save twice. And he in the prone position, he had that second save. He was just standing on his head that whole game.
And I think
he had 2 assists. You guys know he had You guys know he had 2 assists in last night's game,
Yeah,
right?
Elliot
Yeah.
mentioned that. Yes.
Only the 5th goalie ever to have 2 assists in one game, and the 2nd goalie ever to have two assists and a penalty.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, it's
The
I
kid
said at
line,
the
the kid
beginning-
line is the one that does it for the Rangers.
Zibanejad is getting it done for the Rangers, but he needs help. He needs Chris Kreider to do a little bit more. Like, he needs Chris Kreider to do what Chris Kreider did in the first round.
Panarin needs to get back on his game too.
Panarin got a goal last night, but then again, Rantanen was like, I don't know, he was cheesecloth. There was stuff going through him.
Well, he
Yeah,
got it
no-
against the backup. They pulled Rattan or whatever his name is. They pulled him after they were down 3-0.
Yeah, Renta got pulled after 3-0 goal. You're right. But I mean, if you think about those first 2 goals, the first one went right through, oh, you guys can't see me, went right through between the arm and the ribs. And it squeezed through where there's a lot of padding, but there's also a lot of loose jersey that should actually catch that puck. And it didn't. The puck got all the way through. And then you look at Zibanejad's goal, and that was another one that Rant should have had. It just slipped underneath of his pass, and it kind of went 5-hole on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it became 3-0, and that was it. His night was done. I think they're still going to go back to Rantanen on Monday night, but the New York Rangers, I don't know what it is about Carolina, but did you see some of their stats? They're like the best on the power play and the best in the penalty kill on home ice, and they're the worst on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look at their goals for and goals against at home, super low goals against. On the road,
Well, I think their Stanley Cup, their power play efficiency has been 10 out of the last 96 or something like that.
yeah,
Power play.
yeah.
That's
So-
terrible.
I want New York Rangers to go through, but the New York Rangers aren't going to get through Tampa Bay. If Carolina gets through because they get that home ice advantage, I still don't see them getting through Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, this is looking a lot like Tampa Bay has a three-peat on their hands.
Well, and my concern with that, Ron, is the 2 teams in the West, Colorado and Edmonton.
Those 2 are going to kill themselves, though. That's
Yes,
the
they are.
problem.
Yeah, they are.
You know, you
Yeah.
got McKinnon and you got McJesus. And I
Yep.
mean, those are the 2 players that you got.
Jesus. Is that what John calls him? Is McJesus? Is that what John calls McDavid?
Yeah, no, McDavid is known as McJesus, McJesus up here in northern Alberta for sure. I'm over in BC, but Daryl Sutter is the head coach of the Calgary Flames, and when Connor McDavid scored that overtime goal to end the series, Daryl Sutter was asked, "Did the best team win?" And he said, "The best player won the series." That's what Daryl Sutter said. The best player won the series.
Wow.
There's no
Well, him and
question.
Draisaitl will have like 20
26
assists.
points each.
Yeah.
Each. 9 and 17. 9 goals and 17 assists.
Identical.
Each.
Yep. 9 and 17. That's
Like,
amazing.
you look at that, and those 26 points, they're more than the amount of goals that the New York Rangers have scored in 2 series. Speaking of which, Pat Maroon, one of your favorite players
Yes.
to talk about.
Yes, he's won 3 cups in a row.
No, it's more than that. He is now in the top 4. He's actually number 3 behind teams with most consecutive series wins.
Mm-hmm.
There are elite teams, and then there's Pat Maroon right in the middle of all of them.
We love
Because
Pat
he's
Maroon in Tampa. We love him.
he won with St. Louis. He won with Tampa Bay.
What
I
a
mean,
maroon.
Right?
What a maroon. But yeah, it's wild that Pat Maroon has got the Stanley Cup charm. So we'll see what ends up happening. But you're right, Colorado and Edmonton. This series is going to be a lot of fun, and it starts on Tuesday. It'll be interesting to see what happens because you've got the Edmonton Oilers with the oldest goaltender. You have the Colorado Avalanche with one of the younger goaltenders that was injured in the first round and came back.
Yep.
I look at the Edmonton Oilers and I think to myself, their first round, not very high scoring. Calgary Flames first round, not very high scoring. And then we all saw what happened when those two teams met for their first game.
Yep.
A 9-6 finish, 15 goals in one game.
Yeah.
It got a little bit tighter after that, but the Edmonton Oilers were kind of on cruise control and they were able to go through. And one of the reasons why is because, of course, when Lucic ended up running Mike Smith, and I'm not an Edmonton Oilers fan, I'm not a Calgary Flames fan, I am a hockey fan in general. I don't like Lucic very much, but I give him credit because he did not go full steam into Mike Smith. He held up. And Mike Smith did not get rattled, did not get a concussion. He was lined up. He was teed up for a huge hit. It didn't go through. I look at Colorado and St. Louis, and Nazem Kadri, same thing. Play of the puck, ended up going into the goaltender, and Billington is lost for the St. Louis Blues. The very next game, St. Louis lost their complete composure and was too focused on Nazem Kadri. And that's why St. Louis lost the series. Nazem Kadri went ahead and got 3 goals that game. He got a hat trick in the game where he was a targeted man. The Colorado Avalanche, they did give up a big lead in Colorado in game number 5. But it was game number 6, of course, that they were able to put away the St. Louis Blues. But there's another one where the goal was scored with about 5 seconds left on the clock. I personally, I was getting ready for overtime. I needed to go and run an errand, and I was just waiting for the last few seconds to play out before I could have the 20 minutes to go run my quick errand and come back.
But here's the difference between that one and the Panthers game is that in the Panthers game, the Panthers defended that last play horrendously. Okay. Yes. Leaving that guy wide open with the goalie on the other side of the net. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the St. Louis Blues game, that shot was a bullet that went through a few bodies and over the goalie and hit in a spot where an inch to the right and it would have been off the post. Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you ever get a chance to look at that replay again, you have to watch it because Helm let the puck go in front of him off the wall to come back to him to the top of the circle. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening is, again, you guys can't see me, so you can't see me sliding my hands. But when the puck goes off the wall, what do all the bodies do? All the bodies kind of follow the trajectory of the puck against the wall, and they can't come back like the puck does off the wall. So they ended up giving up that far side of that net. It was a perfect shot. Like the empty netter that the Tampa Bay Lightning got with that bounce off the wall. Yeah, no, exactly. It almost went into the net by itself. Yeah. And there was one other one. This was the Tampa Bay goaltender, but the play is down in their own zone, and the puck comes through the blue paint. And there was Vasilevsky did not even he didn't jump, he didn't shudder, he didn't panic. He just watched the puck slide through the blue paint and out the other side. And it was so cool, so calm, so collected. And that kind of resonates with the rest of the team. They just kind of settle things down and they go to work. They just get the job done. And that's why when I look at the New York Rangers and I see their goaltender doing everything he can except for score goals so far, the New York Rangers need to build off of that if they're going to advance through to the finals in the East.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough out. It's going to be a tough out for them for sure. Because again,
I had a question.
But like you said, the Rangers, this has been a series where the home teams won every single game, and it's going to be difficult for the Rangers. But you know what, the goalie might be the difference maker in that game 7 tomorrow night or Tuesday night.
Regardless of what happens tomorrow night, Ron, do you believe that the 9-day layoff for Tampa will affect them in game 1?
I don't know if the 9-game layoff will affect them, because you look at what happened with the Colorado Avalanche, and the Colorado Avalanche swept their first round series. And I think that there was a little bit of, you see it, there was a little bit of that letdown in that first game, and then Colorado was able to rebound. But you look at Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is approaching that completely different. The Tampa Bay are approaching it as an opportunity to get bodies healthy.
Yes, and that was one of my points I was going to make. And we can see you again, by the way. One of the things that I was thinking about is that, not only are they beat up in as far as injuries are concerned, but this team is also tired. They played for 2 Stanley Cups in the last 2 seasons, and then another full season, and now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals again. This team is tired, and they needed that break just to get healthy and rest up for this.
You need to get healthy.
Yeah, you get that right.
Tired is your argument.
Yeah, no, what I'm going to say is I want to be careful about the term tired, because people will carry that tired into the next round, and you're going to see the Tampa Bay Lightning come out flat if that's the case. I don't expect to see Tampa Bay come out flat on Wednesday.
Well, the thing of it is that the Lightning have a history of losing game 1s in series. Coming out flat in game 1s, especially after maybe a long layoff like they have for this series. But I think that the leadership on this team is so good that they'll be ready. Stamkos and Kucherov and Vasilevsky, the leadership on that team is it's probably some of the best leadership in the NHL at this point. And I think they're going to be ready, and I think they're prepared for it.
Well, he isn't a Tampa fan, is he?
Not at all.
Who's that?
Yeah, me.
He doesn't blow that horn very much, does he?
No, not at all.
Hey, you know what? Every Cleveland team sucks, so I gotta have at least one winner in my book, and then the Lightning are it. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
you're the one that keeps following them.
You know what? Yeah. And I still will. So that's all good. So who do you like in that Western Conference series, Ron? Do you like the Oilers or you like Colorado?
Well, first of all, Elliot said it right. Panarin's McKinnon has got to do a little bit better job with he's the reason why they're there. And McKinnon was not very effective against St. Louis. That's credit to the St. Louis Blues. You look at the Edmonton Oilers, and Connor McDavid was extremely effective and got the job done. So Calgary could not contain that player. So if Edmonton can contain the guns like Lehkonen, like McKinnon,
not contain, but slow them down a bit.
Yeah, Landeskog, Nazem Kadri. If the Edmonton Oilers have the ability to be able to slow them down, and the Colorado Avalanche can't do the same to Draisaitl and to McDavid, of course, then of course you're going to have an issue, because there's a lot more than just McDavid and Draisaitl in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton is pretty deep. Edmonton's pretty smooth. I'm a little bit worried, and I don't know why. He hasn't given me reason to be, but you look at the goals that the Calgary Flames were able to score on Mike Smith, and I'm a little bit worried about Mike Smith when it comes to the Colorado Avalanche, because if the defense cannot contain Colorado, I'm not sure that Mike Smith has the ability to be able to keep the Edmonton Oilers goals against down. His goals against went up substantially against the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and Colorado's a scoring machine at this point too. So I mean, it doesn't, that doesn't bode well for Smith, but no. he did come through when it counted as far as Game 7 is concerned. So I mean, and you know what? When you've got two guys like Draisaitl and McDavid on that team, it's always an equalizer. If a goalie has a bad night, they can always put up as many goals as you might need to win a game too. So,
All I'm
Yeah.
saying is this.
But I think you're right. I think they're going to beat each other up, and I think they're going to be. I think it's going to be a 7-game series in that as far as that's concerned.
If
I
Tampa
think
goes
so, too.
through, which I'm hoping that the Rangers can pull a miracle. Oh, hey, Ken, what's
Ken
up? man?
Coslow in the house. What's up, Ken? How you doing?
They unshackled the internet in Texas all of a sudden. Oh, we can't hear him.
No, we can't hear him. Get your microphone, Ken. We can't hear you. Nope.
Anyways,
So what I was going to say is
valid.
What I was going to say
I'm
is
going to say
Tampa,
about the New York Rangers, Elliot, is that one of the things with the New York Rangers is that their opponents have been getting increasingly more difficult, and they've been finding a way to come up with the victory. Of course, you've got to get through Carolina in game number 7, and they haven't won. They've only won one game on the road, the New York Rangers, in the postseason.
in
the first round, they only won one on the road in Pittsburgh. So New York Rangers need to win on the road as well as at home.
Well, that's a given. That's a given at this point. They have
Yeah.
to win one on the road.
And that's right? The old adage, you haven't lost a series until you lose at home. But the Carolina Hurricanes have not lost at home. And
what I'm saying is, what I was trying to say is that if Tampa happens to go through, which they seem to be having the inside track at this point to get to the Stanley Cup final, then I would have to hope that Edmonton goes through, because I'd love to see the back and forth between Scott and John for those 2 weeks.
Well, John and I had a back and forth. I said they want to see. They said they wanted to see the two of the guys, McDavid and some other guy from Colorado play. And I was back. You know what? They want to see McDavid and Stamkos play too. So I mean, let's go Bolts. So it is what it is.
100%. It is what it is. And I mean, all I can hope for is that if Colorado and Edmonton go 7 games, that Tampa Bay and New York, or Tampa Bay and Carolina, go at least 6. Because you want to make sure that part of the game is even when it comes to the Stanley Cup Finals.
7. Both series go 7.
Yeah. I can see it with Carolina. I can't see it with New York. New York is either going to get lucky, or Tampa Bay is just going to steamroll New York.
Well, we'll have to see, I guess.
Whereas Carolina is going to be a very more physically demanding series against Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay can hold their own when it comes to a physical game. But you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, let's get through Monday first, because we need to find out who's moving forward.
It's either going to be in Carolina, or it's going to be in New York, game 1.
Because the Bolts have the lower of the three teams, lower seed of the 3 teams. So the Bolts are going to be, not going to have a home ice advantage in that series. So
no, I don't know. I'm kind of partial to the New York Rangers this time around, and I don't know why, because there's not enough players on that squad for me to kind of go, yeah, they've got this one. But they're getting the job done, and they're getting the job done a little bit on the lunch bucket crew, right? So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping tomorrow night. It's my birthday, and so
happy birthday, Ron.
Will be
happy
tomorrow.
birthday, man.
So I'm hoping
we're not gonna be on tomorrow. So happy birthday.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah. Start the day with a big bike ride, and then come home and watch the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes.
There you go.
Sounds like a perfect Sunday to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a Monday, but that's okay, Elliot.
Oh yeah, that's right, Monday.
We make it feel like Sunday.
Yes. I don't have to work, so it's even better. But it's been a good play. It's been good playoffs up to this point. I really enjoyed them. I really have. Been a lot of fun.
Again, I haven't been really following closely too much, but they've been interesting series to this point.
I haven't actually had a game on, because I'm of the opinion that when I watch the Lightning, they don't do well. So I kind of follow them on Twitter. And
that's the way I feel about the Yankees now.
I kind of follow it on Twitter to see how they're doing and everything. And I'm not going to turn on, because once I turn on, they're going to play like crap. So I'm scared in that point.
Hey, tune in for all the games against the Rangers if the Rangers. Yeah, you need to watch all of them.
It was a fluke yesterday, but I ended up watching the Yankees in the Devil Rays, or the Rays. They were wearing their Devil Rays jerseys
they were
yesterday.
wearing their old Devil Rays uniforms. Yes, they were.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know what you're saying about the Yankees. I thought that they had that game, and they let it get away from them.
What, 3-1?
They let it get away from them. The announcer called it picket fence. One in the sixth, one in the seventh, one in the eighth.
Here's the problem right now with the Yankees. Okay, bottom line, their 6 through 9 hitters are not regulars in the lineup. They've got Stanton on the IL. That's home runs that you're not going to get. Okay, and I'm sorry, but they need to throw Joey Gallo off the Brooklyn Bridge. Because that
the only reason why I watched yesterday. I'm like, hey, Joey Gallo, I got to check this out.
Yeah, he needs to get thrown off the Brooklyn Bridge or something. Either that or send him to play with New Jersey in the colostomy bag over there in New Jersey.
Yeah. The announcer once said, the announcer at some point in the game said, you know what happens after you're the 9th hitter? And the other guy says, what's that? You're on the bench.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that this guy strikes out more than he hits the ball. Yeah. So, I mean, he's terrible. He's freaking terrible. And then they got nobody at catcher. They don't have an offensive catcher to speak of. The only thing that's keeping the Yankees afloat right now is that they have one of the best starting rotations in the game. And their pitching in the bullpen has been great, except for Aroldis Chapman. He's having all kinds of problems. I guess he's got an Achilles issue going on or something. But it's the pitching that's keeping them in it. And that's why they have the best record in baseball right now. Once they get some bats back in the lineup, although they just picked up Matt Carpenter, the former Cardinal. So, we'll see what happens. But right now we're sitting atop. We're at the top of the heap. We're doing all right. And as long as I don't tune in, I'm good. Although I can't tune in to watch the I don't get the Sun channel, the Sun Sports channel or whatever, right. Florida Sun. I can't watch the Yankees when they're playing here in or against Tampa at all. So
you don't get the Yes Network either?
Yeah, but that gets blacked out too.
It gets blacked out because because of balance.
Yeah, it's a regional thing.
Yeah.
Contractual thing. So yeah, I hate Tampa because of that.
Yeah.
And although they're doing me a favor because I said before this season started, because of the strike and all that, the lockout or whatever that happened before the season and so on and so, I said I'm not going to follow any really not going to follow baseball, even the Yankees. I mean, you hardly see me wearing any of my Yankee shit anymore,
right?
And I'm just totally turned off by the whole baseball fiasco and the greed that has overrun the game.
Yep. I know Ken would have mentioned this, but congratulations to Real Madrid for winning the Champions League yesterday in soccer. I'm sure Ken wanted to mention that. And we have an Indy 500 winner, some guy from Sweden. I forget who it was.
They censored Ken today in Texas.
Yes, they did.
He got on screen and wouldn't let him talk.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. Get back to this.
That good old Texas infrastructure.
Yeah. Marcus Erickson is your Indy 500 winner earlier today. Let's get ready for Game 7 tonight, Elliot. Celtics.
Hey, Steven, did Scheffler win the golf tournament this week?
The winner of the golf tournament was. Where'd it go? Actually, it's up top here.
I thought it was Scott. What's his name? Scheffler.
No, Chastain won it. Nope, I'm sorry. That's racing. My bad. Give me a second. Sam Burns won the Charles Schwab Challenge.
Okay. Charles Schwab, huh?
Yeah. It looks like he won it in a playoff against Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler, that's who I was talking about.
Yep.
Poor Tiger.
Tiger can't win for losing, man. He pulled out of the PGA Championship
after round 3.
After 3 rounds. He's probably not. He's probably not going to play the U.S. Open next month, but he says he's going to be at the Open Championship in July. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, they're playing at St. Andrews, which is a flat course. He could probably walk it, no problem. And because it's the home of golf, he's going to show. He's going to show. So.
So before they tip off, who wins Game 7 tonight?
I like the Celtics tonight. Believe it or not, I like the Celtics tonight. Sorry.
Heat. Go Heat.
I like the Celtics tonight.
All right. So on that, I think we end it. We got two for the Heat and one for the Celtics.
Okay. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Cleveland Cavaliers fan over here.
All right, gentlemen, I got to run.
All right,
Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks for showing up, buddy.
We'll bring you back next Sunday. We'll talk some more NHL hockey next week.
When the Rangers are up 2-0.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll talk to you next week.
We'll talk conference finals next Sunday.
Yeah, we'll pick up the pieces when it's down to the Final Four.
Correct. All right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Have a fun ride tomorrow. Be safe.
Thank you very much. Good night, gentlemen.
Enjoy the game tomorrow, too.
Yeah, enjoy the game tomorrow night. Always good having Ron on the show, man. I guess poor Ken just can't manage to get his technical issues in line. He hasn't messaged me anything, but he's having really problems. We couldn't hear him before, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Look, Ron on the show enhances the hockey talk.
Absolutely. I love it.
Just the same way Derek on the show enhances the football talk.
Correct. Yes. Absolutely.
Those are two guys that were probably the silver linings out of Sports World Radio.
Yep.
That follow, that have been gracious enough to join us.
You said the bad word in public.
No. I didn't say J-E. I said Sports World Radio. I didn't mention the host's name. That's okay. Bad. Those are two bad words.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Whatever.
The show was great. It was just the host that was.
Yeah. Well, you and I carried that show for the last few months it was on. But
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's why he bailed, because he knew I was, basically running the show, and he.
Yep. What else you got? Anything else you want to talk about? Well, we got 15 minutes if you want to stick around, but we can close it out early.
The game just started. It just tipped off.
Okay.
So why don't we just go so we can get to the game?
All right. Well, we'll call it a night, call it a week. And thanks for those that showed up. Mr. Jamal, Mr. Carlos, appreciate you coming in.
Yep.
And on that note, we'll close it out for another week. This has been the Sports Nerds. John is moving today, which is why he was not here. So
to his big backyard.
Yes, moving into his new house. So hopefully he doesn't hurt himself while he's moving. Anyway, on that note, we'll be back next Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We are the Sports Nerds. We are out. Elliot, hit the outro.
Nation, another Sunday episode of the Sports Nerd Show in the books, and we're actually still alive to tell about it. Now, on behalf of our host, Scott, the Sports Nerd, right? John Olson, Ken Koslow, two of our lovable members in the Brand Pack, and yes, me, Big E, the entire pack would once again like to thank you all for participating with us in the best 90 minutes of sports smack talk on the web today. So until next Sunday night, dear nation, we want to leave you with a quick PSA. Please stay safe. Please practice social distancing. And for heaven's sake, please wear a blessed mask. You all just got hit with a pack rant from the Rank Pack. And with that, fellas, we are out.